876-5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Tuesday, October 18th, 2022. This is the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting. We have four resolutions on the agenda here. If there's no objection, I'm going to take them as a consent resolution. All right, so I will read them, and if you decide you want to take them off, no problem. All right, RS 2022-1807, Groton, Syracuse, Welsh, and others approves a detection and mitigation of COVID-19 in confinement facilities grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metro Davidson County Sheriff's Office to enhance and improve the practices of confinement facilities to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 and reduce the risk of virus transmission and exposure to environmental health hazards. RS 2022-1811, Groton, Syracuse, Welsh, and Swarth, approves the Healthy Start Initiative, eliminating racial ethnic disparities grant, and approves Amendment 1 to the grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health to provide a variety of services in reducing infant mortality for pregnant and parenting women. RS 2022-1814, Groton and Syracuse, approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security to the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department to continue the enhanced DUI enforcement initiative and target distracted driving and seatbelt enforcement. RS 2022-1815, Groton, Syracuse, Welsh, approves an anti-terrorism and emergency assistance program grant for the Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration to the Metro Office of Emergency Management to support victims of mass violence and terrorism. Anything that needs to come off of consent on here?
Move the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second. Any brief discussion on these? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? We pass the consent resolution. Thank you so much, everyone. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, we have a presentation. As I've gotten my arms around this committee and the things that we could do and to be advocates for, we obviously have a special guest, a few special guests. So I will turn it over to, we have Ruby Baker and Dr. Carolyn Baldwin Tucker, former Metro at-large council member. Thank you so much for being with us. I will turn it over to you all to introduce Rescue Rex and to make the presentation.
And I wanted to see if the Public Awareness Committee wanted to go first. They did not.
For sure. Well, hi, I'm Darby Dombrowski. I am with Finn Partners. This is Sienna London. And we help run a program called Rescue Rex, which, yeah, of course, with 911, and he goes around Davidson County to spread awareness and teach children and students when and how to call 911. We like to do it in a fun way, and we also hand out a lot of coloring books and badges and pencils for the children, and we switch up the show every single year so they get a new experience in song and dance. So it's a huge performance. We can do it from, pre-K to second grade is what we really target. But you all, if you want to take over from there, that was a good brief introduction.
Yeah, and yes, sir.
Is the song and dance not happening today?
Not today. If you go to a show, I'll also do some shows, and y'all can go and experience it for yourselves.
That was pretty good. And yeah, she mentioned a lot of the points that I was going to mention. For those that don't know me, I am Ruby Baker, and I currently serve on the 911 board, and I have been since 2012. And our former councilman, Lionel Matthews, recommended me when there's a vacancy on the board, which we have 2, and each board member represent a school board district. So we are in need of 2 more board members to help us, but we do reach our quorum. But what we do is we impart, and see, Pat Nolan was there when I first came. So this is one part of the program that does interactive, fun, nursery rhyme songs, and different things, live shows at our preschools. So we, as board members, we look at the schools in our district, and they book shows to go to our schools. And the children, first, some may be afraid when he come out, but once he get out there, once he get out there, they warm up to him, they're singing, and they're going along with the songs. But Rescue Rex has made a huge impact on a lot of children, teaching them when and how to dial 911. And you can look at the news stories and some other articles that talk about the children that were able to dial 911 in the event of an emergency, and most of them learned it just by participating in one of his live shows and just going along with it. My granddaughter, when she was in preschool, they came to one of her, they did a show at her school. She's now 10, and she still recognizes him when she see him on posters or different things. And the coloring books that they have, thanks to Mr. Elliot Trevino, they are in Spanish and English, so they can reach all of the children. So when the teachers request them, there are coloring books that are sent, and there are also lesson plans that go along, so the teacher can also continue to enhance the live show that they've seen. And I want to say, especially too, at this day and time, I think it's very, very critical and important that our young children, especially the preschool children, know about how and when to dial 911, because the majority of them stay with their grandparents. And this is something that they need to know. If grandmama pass out or granddaddy pass out, and now he has, I think, well, before this, I remember the other large handheld cell phone that he had. So he's using, they're being creative, the committee, they're being creative on ways to get the children's attention, to get them involved, and showing them on the iPhone how to dial 911 and what to do. So I could go on and on, but what I want to do is I want to really encourage you to visit one of his live shows so you can see it for yourself and help advocate and support this, because I know he goes to different functions,
Yes.
different events. So I want to strongly encourage you to visit a live show to see the interaction with the children and how the live show is and what they do.
Could you send us his schedule?
For sure, we'll send you the schedule.
Yeah, and they are at every board meeting that we have and give us an update. And we strongly support our first responders, which to us are our 911 call takers and dispatchers. The first responders that arrive on the scene could be the police, fire, and medical, but the call takers are the first voice that you hear in the event of an emergency. And so they are short-staffed, but I think they did just bring on a lot of people, but strongly want to encourage you to support our 911 system and go back behind the scenes to see how the calls are received and dispatched when you hear the response that said, it took them 3 hours to get there, or they didn't respond. So I want to encourage you to go behind the scenes and see how that call moves through the system. And again, Rescue Rex is reaching our young children. That is a key part of that public awareness arm. Ms. Tucker?
Thank you all very much for being able to be here and to present Rescue Rex, because I personally have dealt with Rescue Rex as a former principal in Metro Nashville. And we utilized the services to help our children. I had pre-K through 3rd grade. And of course, we utilized the services on a yearly basis. And this went back also to the 90s. And I want to relate to you how important it is for Rescue Rex to have opportunities to be in the schools. I had a situation where a child found his mother dead and had to report and call it in to 911. And the dispatcher then, who has now retired, Gladys Easley, was with the 911 center for years, and she and those people were so impressed with how calm the young man handled it. It was really his aunt who served as his mother. And he found her, she had been ill for a while, but he called, and they were so impressed with how he handled it that the dispatchers and everyone took up money and gave a savings bond to the young man, which he was in the 3rd grade when it happened, and I presented it to him when he was in the 12th grade because he was at Monroe Carroll, and we were able to trace him through that. He said he learned it when he didn't name Rescue Rex, but he did say he learned it the year before when there was something that had happened at school. He didn't tell us what it was. And then I got to thinking we had Rescue Rex for every year. And I just want to tell you the emphasis for having such a program as this. It is something that we can rely on for children to relate to. And it also is a very friendly program. When the children first come out, they get a little bit, it's got a big character here. But once they find out how he moves, how he dances, how he coordinates, and how he interacts with the children, they become at ease. But the main emphasis is that all schools need to have an opportunity to have this show at their schools. It raises and it heightens their awareness of the need. I'm on the Emergency Communications District Board also, was appointed 2 years ago, and my council lady is Council Lady Gamble, and she has worked very well with us in terms of what we do in our community. So, but at any rate, thank you very much, and as a former council member at large, I will not be at your board meeting because I had 8 years of it, and it's quite a bit. Okay, thank you very much.
We appreciate you being here. Yeah. Good.
I would get a lot more out of it if maybe our chair would dance with Rescue.
Well, what I can tell you is that Rex is going to be sticking around to gavel in the meeting, and so I'm hoping that there's going to be some interaction with the vice mayor, perhaps. So if you all could send us some information, right, like a flyer or something that we could plug into our newsletters, we will absolutely help get the word out. And thank you so much for being here and giving us this. Obviously, this is an excellent way to ensure our kids make the right decisions and know what to do, because it could mean life and death. So yes.
And I think, I forgot to mention, I think there is another person that actually does this with Rex. Yes. So it's not just him standing there in the team. So he has a height person.
Yes.
It's a real show.
Leads Rex through the program.
Yeah.
It's
So
a real show.
Yeah, it is a real show. So yeah.
Well,
Thank you for listening.
Any other comments, questions? All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, y'all.
Meeting is adjourned, and if anybody wants to stick around, we'll take a picture and put it out on social.
I don't know how to